Is there a fine line which separates faith from credulity? At what point do we step over into gullibility? Is a person who believes that there are ghosts in his house more or less faithful than one who only believes that there are spirits in heaven? If I don't believe in fairies and trolls, why should I believe in angels and demons? If I am wise to distrust the men who come to my door selling encyclopedias or insurance, why am I foolish to distrust the man who in the chapel is selling me eternal salvation? A truism is an obvious fact that we can accept without benefit of explanation. For example, it is a generally accepted truism that learning to read is beneficial for more learning. Almost nobody would ever have a reason to challenge you to prove such a statement. Another truism is that love is better than envy, or that kindness is better than anger. Love and kindness are virtues, while envy and anger are not. For lack of a better word, they are sins. Specifically, they are two of the deadly sins, first listed by the 6th century Pope Gregory. The other 5 are greed, pride, gluttony, and sloth. Of course, there are more than 7 sins by any definition of the word, and there are certainly more than 7 virtues. In fact, almost any list of virtues which tries to force the number 7 is incomplete. For example, Galatians chapter 5 verse 22 reads, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith." That is 7 virtues. However, the first 2 words in the very next verse pick up the list with meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Another list of 7 virtues is the Catholic Church's list of cardinal and theological virtues. The cardinal virtues are justice, prudence, temperance, and fortitude, while the theological virtues are faith, hope, and charity. A third list of virtues, which numbers 7, is a list designed to mirror the 7 deadly sins. This list, known simply as the 7 virtues, is humility, generosity, love, kindness, self-control, faith and temperance, and zeal. Note that temperance is coupled with faith. Taking this last list first, it's hard to see how faith was pushed into it. Each of the others reasonably acts as an antonym for one of the deadly sins. Humility opposes pride. Generosity opposes greed. Love can be seen as opposing envy. Kindness opposes wrath. Self-control opposes lust. And zeal most definitely opposes slothfulness. But while temperance opposes gluttony, there is no way that it can be claimed that faith does. Faith has nothing whatever to do with overcoming gluttony. In fact, if there is one sin that faith overcomes, it is the sin of curiosity. Of course, this assumes that curiosity is sinful. Well, my position is that if faith is a virtue, then curiosity must be a sin. As the writer Wendy Kaminer wrote in her essay, The Last Taboo, in its more authoritarian forms, religion punishes questioning and rewards gullibility. Faith is not a function of stupidity, but a frequent cause of it. During the period of world history known as the Dark Ages, the Holy Mother Church made it a heresy and therefore a crime for unauthorized persons to read the Bible. In fact, it was seen as heretical even to learn how to read except for a chosen enclave of theologians. Most popes were even illiterate. Why? As I've already noted, today we consider the benefit of reading to be a truism. It fosters learning and therefore understanding. Ah, perhaps that is exactly it. Learning fosters understanding, which cannot be conducive to faith. But before we draw that conclusion, let's look at another of the lists. Let's look at the 3 theological virtues, faith, hope, and charity. In analyzing this list, Voltaire said of faith, "Is it a virtue to believe? Either what you believe seems true to you, and in this case there is no merit in believing, or it seems false to you, and then it is impossible for you to believe." He goes on, then, to conclude that the prudent man does good to himself. The virtuous man does good to mankind. St. Paul was right to tell you that charity prevails over faith and hope. In other words, he felt that faith and hope were hardly virtuous at all, since they had no benefit for persons outside the individual. That certainly seems to make sense for hope, even if we hope for another. If I hope for rain to benefit the farmer, it does him no good if no rain comes. It's no stretch to see how this same rule can be applied to faith. If I have faith, even in God, it doesn't benefit any other person if I'm right, and it certainly benefits none, including myself, if I'm wrong, So how is it virtuous? But there is still one list, the list of 7 cum 9 virtues from Galatians. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Here, the proof that these things are virtuous is that there is no law against them. Of course, it was speaking about biblical prohibitions, but even secularly, it is still true to this day that these things are not illegal. There is no law against faith, but neither is there a secular law requiring it. The only laws requiring faith are religious. Secularly, there are no laws against the antonyms of most of the other things on the list. Love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and temperance are all enforced by some form of law. There is no law enforcing joy or meekness or faith. Perhaps because it is not a truism that their opposites are sins. So how could it be a truism that they're virtues? Today, I end with a quote from Douglas Adams. "I refuse to prove that I exist," says God, "for proof denies faith, and without faith I am nothing." Thank you.